Hey guys, this is Sig Sauer P220 that I recently picked up. It very much resembles an Elite Dark. However, it came out before the Elite Dark in a limited run. And I'll tell you what it has, and I'll explain the differences from that of an Elite. This is modeled on the box anyways as a P220 BR-BSS-SRT. It does have a beaver tail, a rail, a short reset trigger or SRT. It has fixed night sights, and the grips are manufactured by Hogue in a G10 material for Sig Sauer. However, they didn't put any markings on here, which I like. It's just a clean G10 grip. Safety check. One thing I put on is the guide rail in stainless steel. I took the bluing off of the factory barrel with Birchwood Casey's Blue and Rust Remover. Works pretty easily. It's about a half hour. I took that from a vid from a guy on YouTube. So if you're interested, you can look up that vid. With the whiteout, I did the raised lettering look here. I know there's crayon that's used or nail polish. I opted for the whiteout. There's also another vid on YouTube with a guy explaining how that's done. It's pretty quick and clean, so you might want to look into that. This particular weapon has a alloy frame made in Germany, and I don't know that if any of them are made in Germany any longer, but I know that this and my Blackwater Tactical have frames that were made in Germany. The differences from Elite would be the front serrations. This has none. On the other side of the slide, it says Elite Dark here, which this says nothing. It's nice and clean. The grips on an Elite have aluminum grips. I think they're made by Hogue. I'm not sure, but they are aluminum in their composite. And I've never felt them, so I don't know anything about them, but I do know that anything metal is going to retain the elements. So if it's really hot out, the grips, you're going to feel it in the grips. Same with if it's really cold. But anyhow, these being G10, I'm very, very pleased with them. The accuracy on this is extremely accurate. I mean, it matches that of my Blackwater Tactical. Be honest with you, it's I think some of that has to do with the beaver tail and the SRT also being on the Blackwater Tactical, so it's very, very familiar for me when I'm shooting this feel very, very comfortable. I do own a P229 and a other P226 and a 40 Smith & Wesson. Both are standard triggers without the beaver tail, and the standard reset I'm not familiar with because I don't shoot those that much, but I don't like interchanging from the standard to one of these with the SRT. In other words, I'll never take those both to the range, because I think if you are used to the standard trigger and you get an SRT, you'll either really like the SRT or you won't like it at all. But in any event, I don't think you will want to interchange those two at the same time. By interchanging, I mean pick up one, shoot it at the range, and then put it down, pick up another one that has an SRT and shoot that, because they're two different triggering systems, and you're going to like one over the other, I guarantee you that. But for me, it's the SRT. I really like the short reset, especially in the 220, because this is slimmer than the 226, and it has a more of a 1911 hold. I used to shoot and still shoot 1911s a lot. Never thought I'd get a 220 until I saw this. The only reason I bought it is because it has the beaver tail, and it's a dark. It's not the stainless steel version, which is what I've actually only seen on the Elite series. But I love the beaver tails on SIGs. I know some of you don't, but it's a personal preference. Anyhow, I live in a state that doesn't allow these to even come into the state, which is the state of California. So you're not going to find these, even if you wanted one, in your local gun shops here in California. So when they do come up, they usually are picked up pretty quick. And in this case, I contacted the police officer that owned it. He didn't use it as a duty gun or a carry gun. He just has it as a personal weapon that he had in his safe. Decided to sell it, so I picked it up for $700, and I'm very, very pleased with the purchase. The comparison to that of my Blackwater Tactical, again, it's the railed SRT with a beaver tail. This is the nightstand weapon, has been for several years. The accuracy is equal actually on these two. The kick obviously is almost nothing on a 9mm, but on a 45 it's very slight and only a slight muzzle up, and you can get very, very quickly down to your sight picture again, and that's what I love about this 220. Plus in hand, like I said, it feels much more like a 1911 than does this, but you can see the thickness of the grip because it's got a staggered magazine as opposed to hold the 20 rounds as opposed to a single stack magazine, which is standard 8 round. But the hold is virtually the same in that you can get a high hold on it, and it makes it for a very, very accurate pistol. Never had any problem with the sights. I know you can adjust these with one of those jigs, but I've never had the need. And one of the other differences with respect to the Elites is that they do have adjustable night sights, but I've understood that they come loose periodically, and that could be a problem. But being that I don't have them, these are fixed and never had a problem with them. I'm very pleased with them. A couple of the other differences on an Elite would be they're really just cosmetic. They're going to be the front strap, or rather the front slide serrations. Both of them have front strap checkering, but the serrations in front will be different, and the slide, like I said, will be marked Elite dark. But in terms of the functionality of that, if you're going to press check it, I don't do it this way because typically I'm going to have a light and a laser attached, so it makes it much more difficult. But if I want to press check, I just do that, and you can clearly see if there's anything chambered. Other than that, it's pretty much like a Elite dark. And I know Hickok did a very nice review on an Elite dark carry. Now, he didn't really have a lot of information on it. It was something that one of the gun shops lent him, and he referenced the trigger being so nice. You may want to know that that trigger is an SRT type. He didn't point that out, and I think that's important because if you go look for the SIG of that 220 designation, you're not going to find the SRT unless you get the specific Elite. So I don't know that caused any confusion, but I just know that he didn't mention it. But I think I pointed it out on the bottom as a comment. Anyhow, a couple other things. If you get any mags for 220, definitely go with the Sig Sauer mags. They are quality match to that of a Wilson Combat. If you're familiar with the Wilson Combat mags, they have a great follower, great spring and tension, and the fit and finish is, like I said, that of a Wilson Combat. Stay away from Promags. Those are junk. And I'll tell you a quick story is when I purchased this, when I picked it up, I had a couple of 10-round Promags, and on that I was shooting them and kept having some problems with the failures to feed, but never in the stock round magazines, only in the Promags. So I deduced that it was definitely the Promags and not the gun or anything else, or the ammunition. It was the same ammunition. So anyhow, it got very frustrating because I kept cycling through and the same thing kept happening, and to the point where I just threw those mags away in the trash at the range. And I contacted Promag and asked them if they made any improvements and explained the circumstances and what I did with the mags. And all I wanted from them was the quick email as to whether they did anything or not. They never emailed me anything, and I did give them a follow-up call and left a message with their customer service, explained the exact same thing that I emailed them, and they never gave me a follow-up call, which leads me to believe that they are aware of the problem, have not done anything about it, and just didn't call me because they didn't want to admit to a magazine that is a substandard magazine. It has no comparison to that of a Sig. And even though they're half price, they are far from half the quality of a Sig, because you certainly don't want to trust a magazine that may or may not work. So what you should do is definitely buy factory Sigs, even if you know, you can only afford one at a time, whatever the case may be. Don't trust something like Promag. Those are junk. If Metgar makes a great mag, however, Metgar doesn't make a mag for this particular 220. They do for the 226. And in fact, the factory ones are made by Metgar, so obviously those are quality mags. But you know, just a side note: stay away from the junk put out by Promag. Not worth your time or effort. So this is a review on this, kind of a tabletop review. Very, very pleased with it. If you get a chance to shoot one, definitely give it a shot. Take care.